Hi, I'm Johnna.
And I'm Aaliyah. And welcome back to Lit
To
and Loud.
lit and loud.
Hard pause.
Maybe
Oh,
we nailed it. Who knows? How you
production
doing
will
over
know.
there?
I'm doing good. We are chatting on a Saturday afternoon, which is very different for us. Um,
It is.
yeah, full sun, lighting issues, fighting for our
What do you
lives.
mean?
How you doing?
I'm good. I rushed around this morning and locked in for this. Who knows
Hmm
what the evening will bring me? Hopefully dinner.
Hopefully not cooking dinner.
Crazy. I
Yeah.
know. No, Gabe was grilling. We're dabbling
Oh,
with the idea of going out. Fingers crossed for that
supplement.
second one.
Real.
Even though I just watched him grill food, I'm like,
We could. Yeah, we are Drew was like, "Do you wanna go to Marshall's after that and, like, smell candles and walk around aimlessly?" I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds good. We just need to,
yeah,
like, be outside, and it's too cold to be outside, so this is, like, the next best thing."
it's close enough.
Close
What
enough.
are you reading
Uh,
over there?
I am chugging right along. We are wrapping up the Trans Rights Readathon. I have 3 books left on my TBR, so I am just trying to absolutely plow through it. I'm also trying to listen to music at the same time because I've been like neglecting listening to music. So there's been a lot of new stuff out. So I'm just like doing a lot. The first thing that I'm reading is an arc that I cannot talk about. I'm reading it on my Kindle. It's very good. I can't talk about it because we might have a little bit of a future with it and have another whole episode about it. So we'll get there, but it is very good. It's very in my realm. Personally, it has to do with like theater. So I'm a theater kid at heart and it, hits all the right spots for me and it's sapphic. So double check mark. I'm
No
in
notes.
a good read at night, just like snuggling up with it. I've been really enjoying that. Um, for the Trans Rights Readathon, I am in Woodworking by Emily St. James, which is very good. It's a pivot kind of from everything that I've read. I had a lot of romance there at the beginning. I had a dystopian with This Is How It Ends, but at least for Woodworking, it's really cute. It's a trans student, 17-year-old kid who has been outed in the community and has been dealing with all of that. And her teacher kind of confides in her and comes out to her. And it seems like they go on this journey together. So it's very cute so far. It's funny. It's got that humor that really hits. And I think it'll be like a very touching story. That's what I'm getting from it, but we will see. Um, I am in Margo's Got Money Troubles. I'm reading along
I was gonna say, I
for
hope you're in.
episode by episode, baby. It's been a lot. We've been reading
At this
quite a
point,
bit.
same. Yeah.
It's a lot, and to go through and really dig into a book and annotate it and be all in it, it takes way longer than you'd expect. So, moving
Yeah.
along with Margo, which has just been a delight. We're going to talk about that, obviously, but yeah, some of the books I've had for the Trans Rights Readathon have been hitting. Talked about some of them. This Is How It Ends by L.M.
This is
Juniper.
like the Last of Us one, right? And you were gonna read the
Yeah,
prequel? Yes,
yeah,
you did talk about this.
I'm so into that. I finished that this week and it really was a delight. It was a pivot. I love a dystopian TV, movie, book, everything. I love zombies, uh, looking into the future and it being desolate just feels very
Mhm.
now. I don't know. Is it a form of escapism if it feels like our life now? Like we're ramping up to it,
Right.
but I have been
You're just
enjoying
prepping.
those. Yeah, just prepping. But yeah, what are you reading?
I have to talk on my TBR from last episode. I have
Yeah.
finished I'm That Girl by Jordan Childs. It is very good. It talks about her run through gymnastics, especially her last Olympics, where she was stripped of the bronze medal. So that is just absolutely devastating. It was very well done, well written. It wasn't bad by any stretch, but it's not my favorite. autobiography I've read, but it was still very good. It was very interesting. There was a lot of content in there. It talks about her going to the Olympics twice, and I mean, just what an incredible journey, an incredible story. And she's just an incredible person. Like, she's
Mhm.
the one doing her floor routine to Beyonce, so she
Yes.
and it definitely, like, dives into her making the statements that she's made in
Mhm.
gymnastics, why she's doing it, why it's important to her, which is really great. The other thing I am reading is I am almost 70% of the way through the pairing on my reread. This book is as good as I remember it. It's just it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. Um, Theo and Kit are simply everything. I literally burst into tears while driving, writing it, or reading it today, listening to it, because it like switches to Kit's point of view, and it talks about the beginning, and he just explains that he's been in love with Theo since he was 8 years old, and it's so sweet how he describes it. And I was like, "Ugh," and the scenery is so vivid. I want to eat all the
Mhm.
food. I don't Allergies be damned. I will die on this vacation. Like, fuck it.
So much
So yeah.
shellfish.
So yeah, I'm just like really deep in there. I love a
Mhm.
pastry.
Yeah.
Ugh. I never got over this book, and this certainly isn't helping, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, Drew and I were just talking about it. We were like, "That was so good." Like, the time we read it
So
too, Drew was
good.
just couch bound because of, his surgery, so it was perfect timing. I read it right after, and it it puts you in a place that what you wish you were in no matter what the season,
Oh my
and that's,
god.
abroad and
All
not
forms
here.
of it. Right.
Yeah.
Abroad, the food, the wine, the people. I'm like, slut
Yeah,
era,
and
and I'm reading a book. Like, what? I'm never gonna live that life, but I'm like, I could though, and it makes it
yes.
sound really enticing.
It does, and as someone who I've studied abroad and I did the wine classes, and we're foodies, so no matter where we travel, anywhere, we are finding the best places to eat, the most interesting things to eat, and it just hits the spot. It really does. I need to read the physical
Ugh,
copy because, like, I gotta see it, I gotta see what we're talking about, and
yeah,
yeah, you've inspired me to reread some stuff too once I get through the next
get
couple of
in.
weeks.
I think that my next quarter is gonna see a lot of rereads.
Mm,
I'm just I'm a yearn for cozy, familiar books, I guess.
yeah. If you know it's good, it's good. Can't be
I'm diving
disappointed.
in. No, no, let me go read all my 5 stars again, make sure they're still good.
Mm.
What are you watching?
Watching The Pit. Have you watched that episode? I know we have. Okay. Oh my god. I'm so
Everything's
stressed.
everyone's having the worst day of their life. And
I'm
I have to
so
watch it?
stressed. Yeah, I chose to watch it. So
I
the
watched
hard
it.
start, spoilers ahead, the hard start of Dana running into that room and rescuing Emma. I
Yeah.
that was so frightening. And I know she beat the shit out of that man, and I know she was, packing in the sense. So she's traumatized. This is
Right.
not the first time. The What we saw on the screen is also not the first time that I'm sure she's experienced it being a nurse for as long as she has in the ER, and just watching it happen to a younger nurse. I can only imagine the feelings that she is going through. And then fucking Robbie. Like, I cannot stand villain Robbie.
Same.
Get him out of
Same.
here.
He's like
He
going scorched earth. He does
he
not give a
is.
fuck who he hurts in the process. Obviously, in the back of my head, I'm like, well, if he, is going to end his life, he's like burning all these bridges so they're not grieving him and they're mad at him. But, buddy, this is making
No.
everything so much worse. This is
I think
fucking terrible.
when we started the season, I think now knowing what I do know, watching through, that he is. making a very big choice here. I think it started with him wanting control over how things closed. He wants everything to feel buttoned up. So it's his buddy getting his, his scans done so he knows what his ahead of him and he could set him up for success. It's making
Right.
sure everything's crossing the T's, dotting the I's. But if he does not know by now the way the ER works and everyone that works in there, it's not going to be perfectly buttoned up. And Dana said that. She was like, this place has been chaotic if you were here or not. This has always been like
Mm-hmm.
this. You think you want control over how it looks before you leave. And she fucking knows. It's written all over his face. It's written all over his behavior. She knows that
Right.
ultimately what he's doing is he's going to kill himself and he's going to but he wants to have control over something. And all of this whole episode was just slipping through his fingers. And I think that's why he's so mad. I think that's why he's so angry
Right.
at
Because he has no
everyone.
control over the
He has no
shift.
control. He has no control over the shift. He has no control over the way it ends. He wanted everything to be buttoned up. And you can remember in the beginning when he was saying, I'm still here, everything's going the right way until I'm gone, he cannot have the control though. And I think that's a larger choice and obviously is showing deeper into beyond the ER maybe. Like he doesn't have
Mm-hmm.
control over everything and it's showing. It's so stressful to watch though because he's truly being shitty to everyone. Him yelling
But
at Dana in the carport kill me.
same.
Like
Same.
why? She is your
Uh,
one ally. She is truly
I
the person that will
know.
have your back in
Also,
this
she'll quit
ER.
right fucking now. Twist her
Yeah, she's
arm. She'd
done.
love to.
Yeah,
That's
she's
what's so
done.
crazy. It's like, I was like, she'll leave. She doesn't give a fuck. She's out of here. Like, why? Every single piece of this episode was someone's day getting absolutely fucked up, except for the Whitaker and Santos conversation when he's like,
Yeah.
you like Krabby Patties, don't you, Squidward? I was like, oh,
Yeah. I
that was like
love
the best part of the episode because it was painful. It was a
Yeah.
painful episode all
Yes.
around.
More person I have to gripe about in that show. I forget her name, but the retired charge or the retired ward clerk.
Okay, Boomer, the fucking Republican.
Yeah, yeah. Because I remember seeing clips after
I don't give
the
a fuck what her name is.
I know. After the ice episode, everyone's like, you can see her in the background, not reacting and and I was like, oh my God, she didn't. And I rewatched the episode and I was like, she fucking didn't. And of course, she's like, her language
Snowflake.
altogether, the way
Oh
it
my
went from
God.
someone so locked into their job and so wonderful at their job, but then shifting to be this fucking bigot. This is where it gets me because that is a lot of healthcare. I don't know if you know, but the meanest bitches in high school that were bullies are now nurses.
You know where I grew up and currently live, right?
Yeah. So it's very on brand and it just fucking amazes me that you go into a field like that and actively are a big I can't. When she looked at her
Yeah.
and called her she's like, "Oh, your generation, you're fucking snowflakes." I was like,
Oh
this
yeah.
is
Okay, millennial.
crazy.
I'm Gen Z. Worse.
Worse. Ouch. To me specifically.
Woo! Oh my
Yeah.
God. So funny. I mean, not funny, but that exchange was hilarious.
And it was
Also,
a blip in the episode. I
Joy
was like,
cleaning
fuck.
house and putting her backpack on and walking out. I was like,
Good for her. And I think that again, big statements here at the Pit, but it's true. Her pulling the statistics, being like, all of you motherfuckers are burned out, and Langdon being like, well, we all chip in, we all do our part here. She's like, I did my
we're
fucking
all
part.
family here. We're all family.
How many jobs? Yikes.
Yikes.
Where does that get you?
Fired. Robbie telling El Hashimi about Langdon and then her completely flipping.
Flip so hard.
Why is everyone pissed at Langdon? Fuck Santos. And then it was like, and fuck Langdon specifically.
But also, as a doctor, you should understand the idiosyncrasies of what it is to be the nuances. You know how fucking traumatized everyone is. You're traumatized yourself. Where's the empathy, my good sis. I don't know.
Right.
She teeters so hard for me.
I
I
know.
know she's doing good, but also doing so much harm in the grand scheme of things.
But also, I think Robbie's a little realistic by saying he doesn't want him there and doesn't trust him. If Santos does watch that man relapse, she's going to be like, okay, so we just let him the fuck back in here? And this is where
Right.
we're at again?
Right.
There's so many sides to it.
But like her personal approach to that, like she was personally wronged, and that's where we got with the episode, is that she wasn't mad at him for abusing, for being a doctor, for stealing the patient's drugs, excuse me, as a doctor. Like she was
hmm
ultimately mad that he ruined her first day as a doctor, that he
Right. Made her
left a
question
stain
herself.
on
Yes.
her. Yes, exactly. Left a stain on her and her ability to do what she does best and what she's trained for. I'm also watching RuPaul's Drag Race. We had a good episode. I saw some fucking spoilers last night. So it airs on Friday and we're recording on Saturday. So I saw spoilers last night, an hour after it aired. And I need everyone to shut the fuck up. It was
You
I
shouldn't
saw
be able to use
spoilers
the internet any longer if you do shit like that.
for real. Like you need to be barred. I know like watching something like what happened does cause a lot of discussion because something big happened. But shut the fuck up. It just makes me so angry
Was it
because,
a
like, I
double elim?
no, it was, I'll just tell you because you're not actively watching, but so Jane Don't, who I've been rooting for, landed in the bottom and lip synced against Coco, who is a lip sync assassin. I would say she is just high energy. She does acrobats. She does some dancing. She's very expressive, and I think it just is the perfect song.
Uh-huh.
And I I really thought that, I don't know. I didn't see it, so I will make my own, you know, decision on it. But it seems like
But Jane
Jane,
got sent home.
she got sent home and everyone thought it was going to be a double save, but there's already been a double save, and everyone's been waiting for a double elimination, which rightfully can happen because there's some girls here that are ready to go. They're not ready for this. So it's just crazy because she has been, if not winning, has been in the top every episode. I cannot think of an episode where she's dropped the ball. The runway looks, the challenges, everyone she's ate. There have been 3 design challenges and she's a seamstress, so she's killed it on every
That
level.
really pisses me off when
Ugh.
competition reality shows don't look at someone's tenure on the show and are like, you fucked up this week, which is something that they're really careful not to do on like Great British Bake Off. Like you'll hear Paul be like, well, if it wasn't so and so, we'd probably send them home. But we look at how consistent they've been, and it doesn't make sense.
Right.
They'd lose to this person that's been like going by the skin of their teeth this whole time.
Right. And they do it on Drag Race. Here's the thing. They do it, they play both cards on Drag Race. They will with some girls be like, she's had a great track record. Or you watch, so Kenya Pleaser is a great example. She fucking botched the first design challenge in such a big way. And she got through by the skin of her teeth. And then just continued to get slightly better, but not turning it out like these girls are. And she still ended up being on here until the last episode. Like she truly just kept pushing because they were like, we're watching you grow. We're watching you grow. And then you have someone like Jane Don't who's been fucking eating the bitches up every episode. And then she gets sent home after one bad time. And you know what? I'm sure she didn't even do
That
poorly. I think
sucks.
they probably all did really well. And she had a
Right.
mishap or something, like something small
Right.
that really counted. And it's just so upsetting because she was made to be a drag race winner. I mean, she'll come back in All Stars and fucking rip these bitches to
Right, I was gonna say
shreds.
Trixie didn't win her season. She's arguably the most famous drag queen from Drag Race.
Right,
Like,
but would have
she has
Trixie
asserted
what
herself as a household name.
right, but would have Trixie won her All Star season if Ben de la Creme didn't fucking leave? Because you know what Ben de la Creme was doing that whole season? Eating the bitches up.
I
So
don't
this is
think
what I'm saying.
I
So if Mikey
right.
wins this, I'm gonna be very excited. I'm gonna be very happy for her. But the problem is now it's fucking tainted because it's been Mikey and Jane in the top, and objectively Jane has been
And now
doing better.
Mikey's in a league of their own.
Right, exactly. It's just so frustrating. And people are very mad. They're like, I'm not watching another season of Drag Race. This is like, I guess this is a theme because I haven't been
This
watching.
is so funny because you were like, this is the season. Get back in. Now you're like, they're
I'm
back on their
pissed.
bullshit.
I'm pissed. And I guess this has been like, it's been a couple of years of bullshit. It's been very rigged. And that's what it feels like. And the girls are mad. And Drag Race bitches are crazy, but I feel crazy. I'm watching something and then all
Oh
of a
my
sudden
God.
RuPaul wants to make the worst decision. Like, what are
Yeah.
you watching?
Obviously, I watched the Pit.
Yeah.
The other thing I'm watching is I watched Project Hail Mary again last night, and it was perfect. It is such a good
Oh,
movie. I can't wait to have constant access to it. I was just talking about doing rereads. I'm going to get back in there. I'd like to kind of time that
yeah.
when you do it so we could get in there together and like maybe do like a little compare and contrast mini-sode on it. We went with wife of the pod Kate and husband of wife of the pod John, and it was they loved it. It's just so good. I was so nervous watching it the first time. I kind of like relaxed into it this time and caught more and enjoyed it more because I
Mm,
wasn't like on the edge of my seat. Like, are they going to stick the landing? Because like I knew they were going to.
right.
So there was so much more I picked up on. I really like locked into the soundtrack. The soundtrack is so cool. It's so freaking beautiful. Rocky Forever. I was sitting there and I was like, you think I can get Rocky tattooed on me? Like,
How do we get Rocky tattooed on
love
us?
him.
I will
Savior
do a
of the
fine line.
universe.
Amaze, amaze,
Ugh.
amaze. That I cannot wait
Ugh.
to watch it again.
Him. I can't wait for you to like read the little outfit descriptions we get to really appreciate him wearing clothes too.
Ah,
Because when they talk about him and Grace is looking at him in his like celebration outfit, which is
mhm.
like all the crystals that are all rough cut, I was
Yes.
sobbing in the book thinking of him in this little gimmick and then seeing the gimmick and then Grace makes him the hat. I'm like, free me.
And
Don't free me. I never want to leave.
when they celebrate when they go into I don't know what to call it other than like the panoramic
I don't either,
screen,
and I don't think that was in the book.
but it's such a nice touch and like a
Oh, it's
nice
gorgeous, and
addition.
it brings so much humanity and so much, like,
Yes.
ability for them to experience Earth. Yes,
Right.
it's 100%
And when he's
necessary.
showing him, I'm like, he's like looking at the waves and he's like, ooh, running away from them. I love Rocky so much. He's so cute. When they have the fireworks and
I
they're
know.
celebrating, they're like, we did it. Like, he's like, what do we do
The little
now? And he's like,
fucking
we
hat.
party.
I'm like, my
uh,
baby boys.
yeah. Such a joy.
Ugh,
Such a good movie.
Project Hail Mary forever. What are you obsessed with besides Project Hail Mary?
I have one thing that I'm obsessed with, though, other than Project Hail Mary. Yesterday was the first night of Hayley Williams' solo tour, which I have tickets for in a couple of weeks, and
Mhm.
I'm just excited at the thought of seeing her live. I mean, when you think about someone at that stature, she's like very much so on the level of Beyonce for me. I've listened to her my whole life. She is the soundtrack to so many periods of my life as a literal child, as a teenager, into adulthood, into my 20s. Like I see her in so many parts of my life. So I probably will. I told Drew, I was like, I think I'm going to be really emotional, even though
Yeah.
this era for her is very different from the life that I'm experiencing right now. I'm deeply in love. I am in the best relationship of my life. I am the happiest I've ever been in that way. She's like going through a lot with this, in this part of her life, and I'm just excited to see her on stage. And I haven't been to a concert in a
Mhm.
while, so I'm very excited to see her.
Hell
That's what I'm
yeah.
obsessed with. What are you obsessed with?
I have a couple things. So, my next Magic Puzzle Company puzzle has arrived. It is the Mystic Maze. I currently have no notes, but Kate wants to come over and do a puzzle with me, so like twist my arm. I ordered it used, so everyone pray for me. That feels crazy, but at the same
Mhm.
time, adults don't actually lose puzzle pieces. So, very excited to start that. It
Yeah.
is for me RunDisney crafting season.
Hmm.
So I'm locking in. I have a gimmick costume to make. I will be running the springtime surprise 10K as a heffalump. So I'm going to make a really nutso costume. Some stuff for that arrived today. Some stuff's delayed. I am making a Tigger dress for Theo, and I'm going to make friendship bracelets. I'm just really excited about all those things because
Hell yeah.
this is like how I prep for the race because obviously I'm not going to train for it. So I'm just going to grip it and rip it and look really great. Can't wait. The third thing I have you seen this saga that's currently unfolding on Threads that is now has its own like topic, which is Bro Cruise? Do you know anything about this?
I know not a damn thing. What is this
Okay.
mess?
So this woman is posting because like her friend, I assume it's like her John Healy, is on
Mhm.
this cruise. Shout out John Healy. The whole episode's gonna be about him secretly. Um he bought me this shirt, so big John Healy day over
King.
here. Um my king. So this woman is getting text messages from her friend that is going on a bachelor party. And like he is seemingly him and one other person are the only two people with their shit together. Everything else is a disaster. He only knows the groom and this one other guy. She has them color coded. So her friend, who we are calling Rat King, which is hilarious. Rat King is best friends with Green, and that's how he met Groom, which is White Square in this thing. She's not putting their names in it, so they're just known by emojis.
Okay.
The most toxic guy is a Red Square, which is perfect, but like Red Square showed up night one and didn't book a hotel room before they got on a cruise. And he's like, I was just hoping I could crash with someone else. I don't know. Like, just all this chaos is ensuing. So everyone was so fueled by the opening night's situation that they crowdsourced the Wi-Fi package for Rat King so he could live report from the cruise. So we are on the cruise. Last night was a casino night. Just everything's happening, and I'm very here for it, and I think it's very funny. So get in there. It's like Threads, and if you pick a topic, it's Bro Cruise.
Literally the first thing that pops up. Bro Cruise unravels in Bahamas. A chaotic bachelor party is being narrated live by an informant during a Bahama cruise. So we are back. We will be jumping into Margo's Got Money Troubles by Rufi Thorpe. Just some trigger warnings off the top. We have mentions of grooming, addiction, or substance abuse. So take care of yourself, friends. All right.
We have been so excited to talk about this book.
We
So
have.
here we go. So this book opens up with a quote that I'm just going to read because I think it's a really fun way to start a book. So here we go. Chapter 1. You are about to begin reading a new book. And to be honest, you're a little tense. The beginning of a novel is like a first date. You hope that from the first lines, an urgent magic will take hold. You'll sink into the story like a hot bath, giving yourself over entirely. But this hope is tempered by the expectation that, in reality, you're about to have to learn a bunch of people's names and follow along politely, like you're attending the baby shower of a woman you hardly know. And that's fine. Goodness knows you've fallen in love with books that didn't grab you in the first paragraph, but that doesn't stop you from wishing they would, from wishing they'd come right up to you in the dark of your mind and kiss you on the throat.
Great start. Like you said,
Yeah.
we love the thing that gets me the most about this book is Rufi's writing. Like you cannot not everyone can do this. And I really I love the way that she starts off a lot of the time. I find this in the top of chapters too, which I'm sure you've noticed as well. Second read through, she really just like gets you into a place. I immediately like melt into her books and I love her writing so much. Yes.
Agreed. A lot of this book is nonlinear. And also, just at the top, this book is actually narrated by future Margo about past Margo, which I think adds a really cool dynamic because we all look at things we've done in the past through a different lens. So being able to gather this from that lens is really cool.
Yeah, I really like hearing it from this perspective because you get her like objectivity and self-awareness as she narrates the story, and
Mhm.
it gets better and better throughout too. I guess it gets not better and better, but more fleshed out because you are
Yeah.
seeing Margo as a whole, and what an interesting way to build out a character. Think about writing that. That is so beyond my capabilities. I'm not a writer,
Right.
but like
'Cause it's like so meta. It's so
it is.
layered.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, keep that in mind as we read
Yes.
this.
If you're like, "Hold on, who's talking?" It's all Margo
It's
somehow.
always Margo.
It's just Margo. So as we open, it is hard start. We are at Margot's baby shower. It is hosted by the owner of the restaurant she works at. Her name is Tessa, and she thought that it would be funny if she made a dick-shaped cake for a baby shower, which is a little nuts. It is a hand-carved 12-layer dick with a hand pump to make it splooge white pudding. I'd
Yuck.
leave. Yuck. I
Like,
understand how babies are made, but get me the fuck out of there. No way.
what a choice. But like, I know she says it a little bit like, it's just like these are the people that she was given to celebrate a baby shot. Like it's her life. It's like this comes back a couple of times, but this is
Yeah.
such a very interesting way to like capture that and her have that realization that she's like, these are the people that I had to have. Like I didn't have, a loving friend group that would have made like, the perfect cake for me and thrown the perfect, I'm having it at the restaurant I work at. And
100%. And that is such a theme of this book is
yeah,
she's not surrounded by that.
yeah, absolutely.
So at the shower, they sang for She's Gonna Have a Huge Baby, which is also crazy. And Margot
Nightmare.
blew out the candles on the cake. This is not a candle blowout situation.
No,
But sure. And Margot, like any self-respecting person, pretended to laugh and went to the bathroom to cry.
to cry. Yeah.
What an open. Margot describes Tessa as both mean and loving. She fed the salad boy at the restaurant shaving cream and dirt once, who couldn't taste anything, and let him actually take bites of it before telling him that it was a joke. And Margot says that Tessa's specialty was turning tragedy into carnival, which
Mm,
explains the dick cake to a T.
yeah.
That
For an
is
under
tragedy to carnival, like right there.
Yeah, for a side character too. It's just yeah. And like it's interesting too at this point you see Margot be grateful for what she has, and that again comes around in this book a lot. If I were Margot, like she's constantly trying to make the best of her situation, and if I were Margot, I probably would have quit life so many times in her position because of
Yeah.
the things she has to go through in this book. So she stays true
Mhm.
to that, I would say, right up to the end of this book too.
Yeah. Margot is 19, unmarried, can't even drink alcohol, and has found herself knocked up by her professor. Margot says, quote, "It seemed unfair that the only love available to Margot was so inadequate and painful."
Yeah.
And that is how this book starts, right into it,
Mhm.
which is such a tough place for her to be. And that is why
Yeah.
she is accepting her baby shower at her place of employment.
Yeah.
Margot's mom, Cheyenne, had told her to have an abortion. Her professor wanted her to have one too. She wanted to have the baby to prove to them that they couldn't bend Margot to her will, which seems kind of so teenage and rebellious, but at the same time, no one's going to tell me what to do with my body. Sure.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and everyone in her life was very clearly like, this is the choice you have to make. And I think if she was presented with the choices that she could make, there might have been a different outcome, but everyone told her. Everyone said, well, you have
Yeah.
to have an abortion. Her mom, who was a single mother, her professor, who was the other person in this mix immediately making the choice, which is, tale as old as fucking time. Man wanting
Mhm.
to make the choice for a woman's body. And like people have very different opinions about this, but I understand there's two parties in this. The baby is growing inside of me. We have to know that and understand that decision is ultimately that person's decision. Like Fuck you.
Yeah.
That's where I stand. I know everyone stands very differently, but truly it's
Hmm.
not something that you can make a choice for someone else. That is so beyond autonomy and like
Also, I'd
it's
like
so
to go
icky.
on my very public platform and say that if your husband would not let you have an abortion, he is not pro choice.
Thank you very much.
Yep. So once Margo decided she was keeping the baby, her professor stopped talking to her. Tessa, her boss at work, understood that it was her decision. When Margo went into labor, her mom was late because she was driving around town trying to find the perfect teddy bear. A
Incredible.
nurse made fun of Margo naming the baby Bodhi, and her mom Cheyenne slapped her, and that really made Margo feel loved, which is such a sad stance that just circles right back to that quote immediately of all the love being offered to her is uncomfortable and inadequate.
Yeah.
That's tough. In the hospital, Margo got the epidural and eventually gave birth. And the
Hmm.
second she had the baby, she loved him so much, it made her ears ring. Her mom couldn't take any more time off work and has since been banned from the hospital for assaulting a healthcare worker, kind of rightfully so.
Yes.
Margo took him home from the hospital completely alone, parked on the street because the roommates had taken her parking spot, and then gets out of the car. She can't get the car seat out of the car, which is like the most car seat thing ever. Like those buckles.
The
Every time I have had to
buckles,
put my
not
nephew in there, I'm like, this is a prison. This is like such a visceral moment of being so overwhelmed.
hmm
And this is one of those things where you realize that this is happening to Margo. This has altered the course of her life, and everyone's life is just
moving
cruising
along.
on. But
Yeah, I
hers
think
isn't. Hers is completely different.
it's just be like struggling like this and have no support in like a real way. And it makes me so sad because if I even had like if I was one of the roommates, well, this is entirely inconvenient and like not appropriate for a college setting. Watching someone actively struggle, like I can't. And
I
they do,
couldn't
like,
treat another human like this.
no, it makes me so sick.
So she eventually gets the car seat out of the car. She's trying to figure out how to juggle him and her stuff back from the hospital and get all of that into the house. And this is where we find out that she wore jeans home from the hospital. I wouldn't wear jeans for the rest of my life, Queen.
If I had a
Like,
baby, I wouldn't put jeans on my fucking body.
no, never again. Never again.
We have made it so far in pants and advancements. There's so many different materials. You have work pants
Literally.
that literally are athleisure. Like we have come too far to be wearing jeans home from the hospital.
Like, I'm not going to want to put jeans on.
This
And
she didn't
I
have a
think there's
birth plan.
also
Like,
no, and I think there's also a little tidbit in here about her saying that she fit right into her jeans again, which is
mhm,
her mom's imprint through and through, which we will get
yeah.
into, but that's definitely another layer to it. When she finally gets in her house, laden, her roommate is just laying on the couch, which is so crazy because you always hear about that moment when you bring the baby home from the hospital and everything's
Yes.
different. And only her life has changed.
Yeah.
Margo says that she felt like she had been to war. She had never faced any physical hardship like that before. And she went into her room and started nursing the baby and just kept thinking to herself, I am so fucked. I am so fucked. I am so
Yeah.
fucked. Uh, again, the lack of support here has to be so loud.
How do you get yourself in this situation? And it's hilarious because I've had friends like this. Like I've had friends where if this happened, this is exactly how it would happen. Everything that goes wrong and right in this book would happen to girls I knew in college. Like,
Hmm.
but it's watching it unfold in this way and not knowing what's going to happen and then being introduced to all these people in Margot's life and seeing all these influences and the layers really kind of build out again this beautiful picture of who Margot is. And I really was rooting for I've been rooting for her since the minute she dropped that quote in the beginning. Like she
Yeah.
is that girl that you're rooting for her every step of the
Hmm.
way in this book.
Yeah. A non-controversial Margo to root for. You are welcome, audience.
Finally.
So, to speak to all of that, I have the quote pulled. All around her, she could feel the echoey space of no one caring about her or worrying about her or helping her. She might as well have been nursing this baby on an abandoned space station. That's exactly what that whole vibe gives. The baby looks up at her as she's nursing and she cries. And she laid next to him and he fell asleep and she fell asleep with him, simply mortified that she was this baby's only caregiver. I could not imagine this feeling. I hear a lot of new moms. I know quite a few people that have had babies. And I guess even as someone that's married, bringing a baby home is so isolating, especially if you're breastfeeding. You're up all these hours, you're doing things that can't really help, and you're the person whose body is going through this. So to know that she has no support is so frustrating. We enter a flashback and Margo is telling us that she feels like she learned. This is such a meta part of the book because we get such an interesting point of view learning this whole book. But Margo's telling us that she learned all about points of view in school. But when she met Bodhi's father, Mark, he was teaching a class called Impossible or Unlikely Points of View at her college. And this whole book is an unlikely point of view.
Yeah.
So we're in class. One of Margo's classmates is trying to armchair diagnose the male main character of a book. And Mark, Bodhi's father, tells him that the character wouldn't be interesting if he was a real person. You wouldn't want to know someone like this. The fakeness is where the interestingness lies, which is an interesting quote. He goes on to say the narrator doesn't do X or Y because he has borderline personality disorder. He does X or Y because the author is making him. You aren't trying to have a relationship with the character. You're trying to have a relationship with the author through the character. But to think of that in terms of this book with Margo narrating story on herself, but that kind of gives us like, it's really about Rufi.
It's
The
genius.
layers.
Yes.
The setup right off the bat, like making that Mark's school of thought is just so fun. When Mark handed back their first papers of the term, he asked Margo to stay after class, and he looked at her and asked why she was at junior college when she could go anywhere. He asks her out for coffee sometime, and this is where the grooming starts. Day one, he makes her feel like she is something more special than, well, she is very special, but more special than anyone in her life has. Like we
Right.
kind of get the vibe that her mom's intention is to like get her to college, but she doesn't really care what she's doing. And
Cause
Mark's
she
like, you could do anything.
Because, like, that's for Cheyenne, like, that's the context of, like, this is success. Like, this is all I know is that you have to go to college to, get anywhere in life, and you don't want to end up like me. So I feel like with Cheyenne specifically, we watch this happen a lot through this book. Like, she doesn't
Mm-hmm.
also think things through, and that also alludes to Margot's choices. And while she's trying to protect Margo in a lot of this, she's falling short because of her own personal like views of things. And I think this is
Mm-hmm.
one of them. Like, yes, like she wanted this for her, but like she doesn't really care in the grand scheme of things. She thinks she's doing it
Right.
because that's what she's supposed to do as a mother. She goes through her own maternal story arc too, which is interesting. See from the eyes
Mm-hmm.
through the eyes of her daughter.
Yeah. Margo says he was my professor, and this mysterious title made him slightly non human. In the beginning, it was hard to imagine I could hurt his feelings or affect him in any way. I accepted him as he is, though, and he had earned the right to being better and smarter than people, better and smarter than me. This lens to formulate any relationship, whether it
Yikes.
is an age gap, anything, anyone looking up upon someone like this is bad news.
Bad. Yeah.
Bad. And this really just sets the scene for me to start loathing Mark deeply.
Immediately. Yeah. He fucking sucks.
Ugh. He sucks and he doesn't get better, so buckle up. He wore corduroy pants and Birkenstocks just to really put the community college English professor image
English
in your
professor.
brain.
What is with English professors and corduroy? Like, I cannot take it off. There are very few places. Actually, no, maybe maybe there are more places you could wear corduroy, but I don't like it. Okay,
No, I don't want
it
to be a
shouldn't be
part
a
of it.
it shouldn't be a closet staple.
No. The first time they slept together, Mark questioned Margo about her tattoos, very specifically a Kermit the Frog tattoo, which is, I love Kermit. And Margo kind of boils this down to saying that she's a cheesy person in this moment, accepts that she never told Mark about her dad, Jinx, the professional wrestler, and that he'd probably look down upon it because Mark was so serious and literary and,
Yeah, fuck you, Mark.
you know. We get a quote from narrator Margo here to kind of really set in the level of the narration here and pull. I love that they do this. It's true that writing in third person helps me. It's so much easier to have sympathy for the Margo that existed back then rather than to try to explain how and why I did all the things that I did. And this goes back to that hindsight's 2020 of the
Mm-hmm.
book establishing shot because I mean, we've all been young and
Yeah.
messed up. And in my head, I don't know if we ever get the outline of how much older narrator Margo is than 19-year-old Margo. But for scale, these people are played by Elle Fanning and Nicole Kidman. And that is a big age gap. That has to be 25 years.
25 years,
That's
30
like
years.
significant. So,
Yeah, what a beautiful way to, because like, I mean, we're not all, again, are we reading through the lens of future Margo through younger Margo? Is it actually Rufi through future Margo to younger Margo? Like,
mhm.
and if you know a little bit about the author, we have a little bit of insight into her life. But yeah, it's really like, I wish we can talk about ourselves like this, and you can see her setting the tone that she's being gentle. Like, she's not looking at herself with this critical lens. She's really just sharing her story here and being gentle and kind to herself, which I think we all can do. Cause like, I think about 19-year-old me and it makes me cringe so fucking hard, and the choices I made and the person I was. And like, I needed 28-year-old me to be far more gentler
Right.
than I am doing to myself in my mind, you
But it's
know?
so easy to look at yourself in a bad relationship and be like, "Oh,
How
I
could you
was
do that?
fine." And then look at it through this lens and be like, "Oh my god, this terrible thing that happened to me." Like,
Yeah.
you
Hindsight's
need the
2020.
hindsight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she says that the thing about Bodhi's dad that was always so confusing was that she only slept with him because he had the power, but he kept insisting that she did, which again, we're in this grooming dynamic. And she doesn't really know. I know. And she doesn't really know which one of them ever really had it. Like, outside of knocking her up, he was always helpful with her papers for class, and he would make her rewrite all the papers saying that she was worth polishing.
Fuck groomers. Like, and this is like
Oh my
100% grooming
god.
behavior. I feel like we have a lot more context for this, but like, we grew up in the age of like kids, people being groomed online. Like, this was so, it doesn't matter if it's professor, if it like, there's so many ways that men I'm gonna make the big statement. Men have groomed women specifically, and this is the context we're talking about. And
Mhm.
this is no different. Like, this is so
And
icky. And to say that
can
she has the
I also
power,
say it's also always a power dynamic. They are putting themselves in this situation to try to get a leg up, to be with someone with more power, more stature, like something like that. Like that, I mean, that's the definition of grooming. When the affair started, Margo and Mark went on a walk. Mark said he felt trapped by his job and his wife and his kids, and said that he
mm,
didn't even deserve the life that he has.
you
Margo
don't.
tells him
Sorry.
real. Margo tells him that it's all a lie and that he's so helpful to her. I'm condescending towards him, not Margo, for the record.
Yeah.
He tells her that the whole time it was because he wanted to kiss her. And it made her feel glowy and good because she's being groomed. Of course it did. And then he asked if he could kiss her. Margo says, I would have done anything he asked. This was on campus. They're walking on campus. Like, there's
But,
just
like,
people
how-
sitting on the quad and you're smooching your professor?
Yeah, crazy to do it on campus. But also, like, this is every movie we've seen with groomed young women. It's our friends we've watched be groomed. It's ourselves that we've watched be groomed. It's just, it is in through a completely different lens. And of course, like we said, hindsight is 2020. Your professor shouldn't be doing that.
After all was said and done, future Margo says that she doesn't feel taken advantage of him because he had acted so childishly.
Yeah.
And she had taken so much responsibility, which is crazy. She is hardly responsible for this. And she really just felt pissed off that he never acted like an adult. I'm pissed off about that too.
Yeah. Boo-hoo. Like, she coddled him. She ultimately was there to be a soft pillow, a soft place to land, and, you know, coddle this grown man who wasn't living the life that he wanted. And even though he has everything, he doesn't deserve the life that he has. Like, oh my God, I'm so tired of this. Boo fucking who.
Right.
You are right. You don't deserve this.
No, none of it. Not one woman, not two, not your kids, none of it. The first time he shows up at Margo's apartment, he comes incognito, hat, sunglasses. Margo doesn't bother cleaning before he shows up because he's there to fuck a 19-year-old. So honestly, what did you expect? And he brought beer with him and then refused to share it with Margo's roommate. Crazy. And he
Wow.
looks
Like,
at the roommate and says, how old are you? Now you're worried?
and she points it out immediately, right? She's like,
Yes.
okay.
So Margo says that she was never really attracted to Mark, but the sex was good. And after they have sex, Margo asks if his wife knows that he does this. He says no. And Margo says, have you ever done it before? And he confirms this by saying, quote, not with a student, no.
Okay, so you're just garbage all around. Like, we knew you were, but you're even worse.
Oh, buckle up. So he says, not with a student, no. I slept with my wife's sister on our wedding night. Margo says, oh my God, you really are a bad person. And he goes, I really am. And she goes, but then you stopped? And he says, there was a few more times after the honeymoon, but yeah, it stopped. Margo asks, did you feel guilty? And Mark replies with, I just pretended I didn't, so it didn't feel real to me. Mark, from the
But you
bottom of
did do
my
it.
heart, fuck you.
For real.
You did
like,
do it.
You did do that. You're a terrible person. Like, this is someone who cannot face the music about themselves and continues to do to this his poor wife.
Right.
Yikes.
After this conversation, Margo really revels in this opportunity to kind of figure out how a man's brain works. It's a scary place. I wouldn't want to go there myself, especially after hearing that. And she kind of thinks back to herself of never really understanding what her dad was thinking. He seemed to be completely immune to her need for him, which is such a sad statement. He could pack a bag and be gone when she woke up without saying goodbye. And she kind of thought that things were different with his other family, but she learned in time that that also was not true. That was the wrestling life. That's what he always wanted. The regular world was not real to him. He wanted to be stuffed in a car with a bunch of dudes addicted to painkillers. Which, between what we know immediately in this first chapter about her mom and dad, like, again, this is why she had a penis cake at work.
Yeah.
Because this is what she has to be offered. And then we get one little blip at the end of chapter 1 where we find out that Mark started writing her poetry.
The one that she liked the most is called The Hungry Ghost. In the dark, we turn to each other like deformed doves, confused that we have bodies. I feel nothing. Keep touching me. I feel nothing. I am a hungry ghost. We try to eat each other, but it is like trying to run in a dream. The dark frozen ice of reality splintering around us. A hungry ghost.
Crazy. So as we get into chapter 2, we find out that Mark has 2 kids, 4 and 7. He doesn't talk about them much or his wife, which why would you when you're fucking a 19-year-old? And all he really wants to talk to Margo about is books and poetry, which is so manic pixie dream girl. It's exactly
Right.
why he's seeing her, like the
Mm-hmm.
young artist, and I'm going to mold you and bleh. He pretty
Blah.
much just took her to Barnes and Noble and out to dinner. And Margo really never concerned herself with where the money was coming from because she got a free meal and some books. And
Mm-hmm.
honestly, she shouldn't feel bad
Same.
anyway. After sleeping together 5 times, Mark said that he was starting to feel really guilty about doing it, and he wanted to keep seeing Margo but stop the sex and asked her to not cut it off if they weren't having sex. And we know that Margo never really thought that this was about the sex.
No.
But it's very interesting that, like, that's where the guilt rolls in for him.
Oh, yeah. Like, I mean, I'm curious to see the instance when he was fucking his sister-in-law and what that was like. What was the not
That's
on the
so
wedding night?
crazy. Margo realizes in this moment that she didn't even know that she had the power to cut this off if she wanted to,
Mm-hmm.
which, again, this is a power dynamic. Like, if you don't realize that you can stop something that you're consensually doing,
Right.
here we are. She always thought to herself that this whole affair was his thing and she was just there. She was really confused by him wanting to stop having sex because she really didn't think that he was going to follow through with it.
Mm-hmm.
And to Margo, the emotions were always the worst part of this because that is where that like big dynamic for them came in, not the
Right.
physical of it. She, like I said, doesn't think for a second that they would hang out if they weren't having sex, but there they are, still having dinner, still sending emails back and forth, no sex. And this is when she realized during this dynamic in their relationship that she is pregnant while puking up little bits of Taco Bell.
Oh my
Just a
gosh.
poor 19-year-old BB. Her coworker said that she thought that she might be pregnant. And Margo kind of thought it's probably just because she ate Taco Bell before walking into work, which that's a
Real.
dice roll, baby. Mark never used condoms. He was just using the pull-out method, because of course he was. Mark, you scumbag. If anyone happens to be young listening to this, that does not work. Do not do that.
I know.
Also, stop listening.
Please do not let your professor hit it raw. I don't want that. Anyone, stop letting men hit it raw. Period. Thank you.
Margo takes a pregnancy test, and of course she is pregnant. We know that she is pregnant. And she called her mom, who is very upset and decides to, give her a shoulder to cry on. They go eat donuts together. And everything we kind of find out, her mom was in this situation. Her mom thought that this wasn't going to happen. Because, yes, being a young single mother is difficult. Even if you are giving your baby the best life you can, that is still a really tough road to go down.
Yeah.
Well, Margo and Mark are at dinner. He tries to tell her that she's just late. Her period will show up. And then he made a joke about how strong his seed was because he's disgusting.
This made me literally want to peel out of my skin when he said that. He was like, and it was like in a voice. Oh, seed so strong. Fucking kill me. Yuck. Yuck.
Yuck. This is when he says that, oh, I'll back you financially and I'll take you to your appointment. And in my head, I'm like, hold on. Not appointment, plural. Margo is 19 years old and goes, how do I make an appointment? And he says, call Planned Parenthood. Margo knew that he had already decided that she was going to have an abortion.
I mean, in the way he was talking, it was just like, I will absolutely support you. I will finance the abortion. Like, and he's saying all of this because that is the answer in his mind. People making decisions on what's best for Margo and also making decisions with her womanhood and her autonomy.
When she realizes that he's made this decision for her, she realizes also that she's never said no to Mark. And she does this time, and he has an absolute fit. Says that he should have a say because, of course, he should. Margo storms out of the restaurant. Mark follows her out. And they make out in her car because gross. And she admits to him that she probably would have the abortion, but in that moment, she just didn't want to be told no. Mark, too little, too late. After that, Mark doesn't reach out to Margo for 3 days, and she immediately knows something bad's going to happen. When the email first of all, these two only connecting through email, crazy.
Yeah.
I hope it's their campus email.
It probably is.
I know. He says that they shouldn't have contact anymore and said that she was throwing her life away by having the baby, saying that this isn't what she wants. Who are you? What do you know? And he tells Margo that what she wants is to make the right choice. These first few chapters are such a dog pile on Margo. Like, I see why she made the choices that she made. So next up, she calls her high school best friend, Becca. And Becca tells her to have an abortion. Says that being a single mom isn't glamorous, which really upsets Margo because she was raised by a single mom.
Like, she knows.
Margo's right. She lived this. She was the child. And Margo says she feels like keeping the baby is the right thing to do, and it would make her a good person.
Yeah, I think she's looking at this. She's like, this is what a good person would do. A good person would face the music and, stand by the choices that she made, even if they were wrong, and have this baby and raise this baby and do right by this child and, stand by her decisions. And then,
I really
of course,
think the second she finds out she's pregnant, she immediately falls in love with this baby.
Yeah.
I think we see that throughout the book, which is so special and so sweet. So when Margo says that she feels like it would make her a good person, Becca reminds her that she was fucking someone's husband. And this is the first time that Margo realizes that she's also guilty of adultery. Yes, she was groomed, but decisions were made. Margo constantly sees her life as a dead end. She won't transfer out of community college. You can't even get a job with an English degree. What's a baby in the mix of all of this? That's kind of just where she's at.
But what a lens.
What's one more thing?
What a huge lens to look through your life as a 19-year-old and feel like it's a dead end already. She's like, what else? I've already dug my grave kind of thing. And everyone in her life is saying you have the choice, but they're all doing it in such a shitty, poor way. Her mom, Mark, Becca, they're all giving her the out that she kind of needs here, but no one's honoring how she actually feels. So she goes to her first doctor's appointment. She found someone that was willing to see her at 6 weeks. The doctor has her change into a gown and begins the ultrasound, and she found herself being really happy that Mark wasn't there. She was kind of bummed she was alone, but better alone than with him. Off. Yeah.
And when she hears Bodhi's heartbeat for the first time, she starts crying. He takes some measurements, tells her that she's 8 weeks pregnant. She thought she was 6, prints out the ultrasound photos, and she is just in tears still. And she admits to the doctor she doesn't yet know what she's going to do with the pregnancy.
Yeah.
Alone at her ultrasound appointment at 19 years old.
Even this doctor was like, do you want photos? Asked first, was very trying to, knowing that this is a 19-year-old girl who has a decision to make. It's a lot of this book, while feels outrageous, feels like shit that happens on a day-to-day basis. And a doctor trying to be supportive is the craziest thing I fucking heard, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. So as we go into chapter 3, she's leaving the appointment and goes straight to her mom's apartment. Cheyenne sits down and looks at her and cracks a beer and asks her if she wants to keep the baby. And Cheyenne tells Margo that it's Margo's baby if she has it. Cheyenne won't be taking care of it. And this kind of just makes Margo laugh because she would never give the baby to her mom.
We see Cheyenne again through Margot's lens, and like she's like, "Of course I wouldn't give you my fucking baby. Like, are you nuts? Like, I know who you are. You raised me.
Look at what you did to me."
Right." And like she has no softness. Like she has no. We get to see Cheyenne through Margot's lens, but like it really paints the picture for us. I'm
Mhm.
judging her because she's not being a supportive grandmother or supportive mother.
I'm not expecting Cheyenne to quit her job to raise Margo's baby by any stretch, but any amount of support outside of slapping a nurse would be helpful in this situation.
Right. And her looking at her being like, just so you know, you're making a decision. I'm not watching the damn thing. Like, tells me a lot about
Right?
you on the outside, but
Right?
through her lens being like, I would never actually give my child to you to watch because I know who you are. Even more information.
And then we get this next line, which is, "Moms, if you're listening, don't listen." Cheyenne saying she thought she did well. Cheyenne says that Margo's in college and that she's going to be someone, and she sees this as Margo falling into the same trap as she did. Now, this is where we start to see how Cheyenne being who Cheyenne is impact everything Margo does in life.
Yep.
Absolutely everything. Margo says this quote, which really sums it all up. "They kept insisting I had all these options, and I could never figure out what those options were supposed to be. Everyone kept telling me I would lose so much by having this baby, but I didn't feel like I was going to lose anything at all."
Heartbreaking. Yeah.
I don't know. Is that like the curse of the gifted kid? Like, you have so much potential and you're going to do so much with your life and like all this stuff. And you're like, what the fuck do I have going for me?
But like,
Especially being 19 and in college like this. Like,
right.
in what? Like, you can only bust so far out of the life that you were given unless you
Mhm.
get really lucky. Like, how far am I going to go? Like, what does her mom works at like Macy's or something? She's like, I'm
Bloomingdale's or
not.
something.
Yeah. She's just like, I'm not going to reach for the stars here. This
But
is kind of the hand I've been dealt, and this feels really normal to me.
yeah, I guess part of it is too like Margo through Cheyenne's lens is I'm doing everything right. She's going to college, like she's good, she's better off than I am, and she's still ending up in the same situation. I fucking
Mhm.
failed, yada yada yada. But like at no part, at no point did anyone ask Margo what she wanted, and you see these decisions continue to happen for herself, and you know, and she actually is building something for herself that feels like she's honoring every part of her, the part that wants to give Bodhi a good life. She is honoring her wishes as a writer or as, you know, someone who's interested in, you know, she's honoring all those parts of herself and not letting herself down. And that is a great outcome of this book.
Cheyenne then says that she's very reluctant to tell her boyfriend Kenny, and we meet Kenny, don't worry, but
Yeah.
Kenny is religious, and honestly, Margo does not care what Kenny thinks of her, because
Mhm.
why would she? And Cheyenne says that she will simply imply that it wasn't Margo's fault that she ended up pregnant to get some sympathy, which is crazy. That is such a look in at who Cheyenne is. And to that, Margo really insists that she wasn't taken advantage of. And her mom says that there's things she won't understand until later, which I think is some of the only good advice Cheyenne gives.
Yeah.
Like 100%. Like Margo insisting she wasn't taken advantage of, she really was.
Yeah.
After this conversation, Margo goes to use her mom's Paris-themed bathroom and realizes that her mom probably always wanted to go to Paris but never could. And that's one of those moments like your mom's just existing for the first time too. And I think that's a real look at everything Cheyenne sacrificed to have Margo and deciding to to keep Margo at a young age. Maybe she did always want to go to Paris, but she stayed stuck. So Margo asks her mom why she kept her. Cheyenne and Jinx met at the Hooters where Cheyenne was working. And Cheyenne admits that she didn't know that he was already married and things were just really intense between the two of them. And she thought that he might be the one. Cheyenne said that he was a Canadian gentleman and a listener. Margo never knew her dad as a wrestler. By the time she was old enough, he had already been injured in Japan and became a manager of a tag team called Murder and Mayhem. And he was the one booking them, managing them on TV, and cutting promos for them. Because as you can think, two men named Murder and Mayhem are not great speakers.
Yeah. Yeah, he has the expertise too.
Right.
He's been in it.
And Margo asked Cheyenne how she told Jinx that she was pregnant, and she said that they went back to his hotel room after her shift and she told him. And he was happy, but that's when he admitted that he was married. And they were going to make it work while he was in town. Cheyenne always loved him, and Margo always lost the match for his attention. And this is such a peek behind the curtain at how Margo was raised. And we get this little story about Jinx taking Margo out to dinner for her birthday. And when they got home, Cheyenne could not handle that had happened and she wasn't there and she was jealous and quiet. And that is such crazy energy to bring into your child's life. That like jealousy, especially because like this child and her father, and then you as I don't even want to call them a romantic couple, like have such a different dynamic than will ever happen. It's so tough. Cheyenne tells Margo that she thinks she's just scared to admit that she wants to blow up her life. And Margo's life wasn't always what she wanted it to be. Neither was Cheyenne's, but there were bright spots in both of their lives and neither of them regretted it.
Yeah, I mean, we get right here that quote. Margo was like, "I ruined your life. Like, you can just say it. I know. I was there for it." And she's like, "But you ruined my life so pretty, and took me dead." This is the dichotomy of this. They
Right.
both made the choice, and I think that was a real pivot for Margo to be like, "I want to keep this child." You know, this might ruin my life, but I could be missing out on so many things if I don't have Bodhi.
Yeah, and after that conversation, Margo can't really explain why, but she knows immediately that she's going to keep this baby, and she waits till she's 16 weeks pregnant, and she could not have an abortion to tell Mark that she's going to keep the baby, and there is absolute silence on his end.
Yeah.
In her head, she's kind of thinking that keeping the baby would force him to deal with her. And she didn't want to be with him. She just kind of wanted him to acknowledge her.
Yeah.
And him not replying really threw her through the ringer.
Yeah, because he's given her all this attention. I mean, that's what they do. Love bombing, grooming, all of that. And
And
all
then
of a sudden,
nothing.
all of a sudden, this huge thing is happening to her, and he wants nothing to do with it. It has to face his own music, and she's left in the dust about it completely.
Yeah.
Gotta feel awful.
Next, she calls her dad Jinx. And there's this like moment where she's always worried to call him because she is calling her dad's house where he lives with his wife and their 5 children, which is crazy. And Jinx was actually really relaxed about it. And he said, hey, maybe the baby can be a wrestler. But this is when Margo realizes that she picked a small, immoral weirdo to procreate with, which, what a lens.
Yeah, she's right.
She asked Jinx if she was making a huge mistake, and he assured her that she wasn't. Her one piece of support she finally gets. Like, everyone else is like, you're doing this, you're on your own. And Jinx is just like, go for it. Do it. You're not fucking up. Margo then goes stroller shopping at Goodwill. And she's just obsessed with the idea of getting an Up-A-Baby stroller. She says that she wants it more than anything in her life. And it wasn't in the budget. She's a 19-year-old with extreme rent. Her mom's not really helping her out in any significant way. Her mom keeps pushing her to get money from Mark. And this is really the only thing she would harp on whenever they spent time together, which has to be really annoying.
Yeah.
Back in the present, Margo is living with Bodhi, and she wonders how other women do this. The most she could muster was walking to the corner store to get cheddar, sun chips, and orange juice, a meal that her and Becca invented that they dubbed Orange Meal.
Orange meal. I love that.
Like, her being so isolated, breastfeeding for the first time, and eating sun chips and orange juice, like, the heartburn, are you kidding me?
Right. So much acidity. Ugh.
Mhm. And Margo mentions that after the baby was born, she reaches out to Becca and she says, "Oh, the baby was beautiful." And then nothing. All the high school friends dropped off. Visiting Margo was no longer fun. Her roommates weren't sympathetic to her. They treated her like she got a dog that wasn't allowed on their lease. And they were even asking her to take the baby outside when it was crying. I just could not be this inhumane to someone.
No.
Like, that person's going through the worst season of their life trying to figure this out, and that's how you're going to treat them. And all of these things coming together made Margo realize that she was angry. She was angry at Mark, angry at her mom, her roommates, all of it.
Mm-hmm.
But she loved Bodhi, and she realized how much kindness would mean to her, even if there was no one there to extend it.
Boo. Boo-hoo. Yeah, those roommates suck.
Ugh,
She has very little information on how to raise a child, and she's just literally flying by the seat of her pants, and her roommates are
yeah.
pissed. And rightfully so. I'm gonna be honest, I'm mad at the roommates for being shitty, but like here you are in college needing to sleep because you have a midterm tomorrow and there's a fucking baby that you didn't sign up for in the room next door crying all night. You can be
That's
rightfully
great.
upset. But again, I'm
I
rooting for
know.
Margo, not the roommates here.
As we move into chapter 4, Margo finds out that Cheyenne's way more awkward with the baby than she could have ever anticipated. She has all these like old ideas of how babies should be raised. She doesn't understand why Margo's nursing instead of giving Bodhi a bottle. And Margo takes this time to ask her mom if Jinx was around when Margo was a baby. And Cheyenne says that he got injured in Japan when Margo was 3 weeks old. And he actually didn't meet Margo until she was 9 months old, which is
Crazy.
crazy. And
Yeah.
Cheyenne says, I would have killed him if I didn't need money from him, which I
Yeah.
really respect, honestly. When Bodhi was 6 weeks old, Margo went back to work and Cheyenne watched him one time and said, never again. Next, she hired her mom's neighbor to watch him. She quit, and then she hired someone from care.com. And when Margo got home, the woman rushed out the door and had not even tried to feed the baby. That has to feel terrible. Like,
Yeah.
that is why people choose not to go back to work, because no one's going to deliver a level of care that you could. Because of all the crying, her roommates, now mind you, we're frustrated with them, but they are college students trying to like
Mhm.
do what they're doing. They tell Margot the baby can't be watched in the apartment anymore.
Yeah.
After another failed attempt of Cheyenne watching Bodhi, Cheyenne calls Margot at work and Tessa says, just bring the baby in. Tessa watches the baby all night, but at the end of the shift, she says, I, I understand this one time. This can never happen again. And if you do this again, please don't make me fire you because it will make me feel bad.
Yeah.
Tragedy into carnival.
Yeah.
So Margot has 2 days before her next shift to figure this out, but daycare won't help because Margot works at night and paying someone to watch Bodhi at night would be half of her income.
Mhm.
Then Margot considers maybe switching to lunch, but she calls the daycare and the wait list is 6 months long.
Real.
Margot does not find a sitter for Bodhi, and Tessa tells her that she's fired. She had 9 months to think about childcare and didn't. That the door's slamming.
Yeah, it's hard. It is unfortunately a reality here in the United States, especially not having childcare that exists for everyone and that is affordable. And it's just really it's heartbreaking because you also understand in this moment that again, Margot is not equipped to have a child in the way that she should have been. If she wanted to keep this baby, she also needed the support system to educate her, classes, birthing
Mhm.
classes, parenting classes, like these things exist
Yeah,
for a
but
reason.
instead she was in college classes.
Yeah, right. So, it's hard. I like obviously empathize with her immensely, but there were 9 months where you had an opportunity to have childcare, but she didn't understand what she was getting herself into.
Margo heads to the store and she just felt like absolutely everyone was staring at her. There's so many devastating quotes in this book.
Yeah.
Quote, she seemed to walk everywhere in a cloud of shame. She was a stupid slut for having a baby, and if she'd had an abortion, she would also be a stupid slut. It was a game you could not win. And that's 100% it. Like, that
Boom.
doctor was judging her for having the baby, and if she didn't want to have the baby, he would have judged her too. And that's unfortunately the reality of the situation.
That's what it's like to be a woman.
Mhm.
Nothing you do is ever right. Every decision you make is wrong.
Yeah.
If you decide to have that baby and be a stay-at-home mom, you're wrong. If you decide to have that baby and go back to work, you are neglecting that baby and you're wrong. You know, there is this trend, I don't know how to explain it, but this trend, but there's a lot of TikToks and like it is the same thing being said over and over again. Like these girls, these like young women are saying like, I am choosing not to have children, even though I've always wanted children because this is the only place that they're safe is inside of me. And what a heartbreaking thing for people who actually want to
Yeah.
have kids and want that future and are making the choice not to because of how awful it is here, like on this fucking planet. So
Yeah.
heartbreaking to watch.
Right up there with that. When everyone had talked about what she'd miss out on by having the baby, they didn't mention how everyone she met would also judge her for making what they all claimed was the right choice, which is
Yep.
100% true. She also admits that she's a little excited to be fired, which, like, okay, fair, but money win, queen.
Yeah.
Like,
Baby.
the logistics of it, I know. And then the cats, her two roommates, Cat the larger, Cat the smaller, knock on her door the next morning and say that they're moving out in a week or so. They've paid rent through the end of the month to give her time to find new roommates. And Margo says, quote, shouldn't someone be in charge of how many bad things can happen at once?
Real.
I
That-
wish. I fucking wish. Holy shit, I wish.
In the trenches, like, like, I mean, just a you wish. Yeah, I mean, what
As
a
a
shitty
trench
thing to do.
girly,
It's like 2
right.
weeks. Like, it's 2 weeks
Yeah,
to the end of the
that's
month.
not enough time.
That is not enough time to find roommates ever in any reality. Oh my God.
Those 4 roommates are splitting $4,000 a month in rent, which is how student housing of you.
Yep.
And she just had no idea how she was going to do it. And she was like dabbling with the idea of paying half the rent and Susie paying half the rent, but then realized that Susie spends all her money on cosplay stuff. So Margo goes and applies for unemployment, and unemployment tells her that she will make about $1,200 a month, and she'd have $200 a month after she paid her rent, assuming she found roommates, which is so bleak. She calls
Yeah.
her dad for help. He doesn't answer the phone. She leaves a voicemail asking for help, which is not something she's ever done in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first thing that she's ever asked Jinx for, and he doesn't answer the phone.
Yeah, to ask for help from Jinx in any capacity because I know that that's not what he's there for. And this is a Hail Mary for her. This is where we see it's absolutely.
This is her Project Hail Mary.
It is.
And he doesn't pick up the phone. Later, Cheyenne calls and says that Kenny does want to meet Margo. He wants to take her out to dinner. And Cheyenne thinks that this is a big indicator of things getting serious for them. And she said that she would marry Kenny given the chances. The just tone deafness of this is so crazy.
Mm-hmm.
She asks Margo if she's looking for a job. Margo lies and says yes. She still has no childcare, so even if she could get a job, she can't work it. And Cheyenne tells Margo that the baby isn't welcome at the dinner because she hasn't told Kenny about the baby yet. Boo hiss.
Oh yeah, like she has childcare, like she has anyone to watch the child at all.
Right. She has no one. She had no one to throw her baby shower. When the cats move out, her leftover roommate Susie offers to see if she can have some friends move in, and Margo refers to them as LARPers, which really popped me. They are all cosplayers.
She goes, I can't have
LARPing?
Susie. See, when she goes, I can't have Susie's friends LARPing all around the living room. It's fucking sent me. That's like highlighted in my notes in a way. Like listening to her in a
Yeah.
delivery, the delivery went crazy. So like Elle Fanning does narrate this
So
book,
good.
and it's so good. It's so good.
So good. Jinx has not called Margo back, and Susie is still going to school, and she tells Margo that she saw Mark on campus and he looks like shit, and I love it. I
Yes.
love it so much.
Good.
Amen. He should. Susie takes minutes for the dean, so she also mentions that Mark just got the department chair. Eat it. You work as hard as you want, buddy. We know you're trash.
Yep.
And Margo tells her that she hasn't enrolled in school for the fall semester after having Bodhi in July. And she kind of admits to herself that she's not going to go back. It just does not make sense,
Yeah.
which is fair. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what are you going to do if you can't find childcare? You can't find childcare. And if she's going to do anything out of the house, it's going to be work.
Mm-hmm.
So Margo throws a second Hail Mary after not hearing back from Jinx. And she asks Mark for $3,000 because rent is due in 10 days. And she's really out of options. And she also acknowledges that everything she had with Mark was fake, but the rent was real and the baby was real. So someone has to deal with this.
Right.
And this is when Margo gets a call from Mark's mom.
His mommy.
Mark's mom asks Margo what her demands are. And she really doesn't have any demands, but his mom says that she has some of her own, which
Okay, girl.
a family dynamic where someone's lawyered up is always threatening to me personally.
Yeah.
So Margo agrees to meet her. She arrives at the office for a meeting, and Mark's mom is sitting there with a lawyer named Larry, and her name's Elizabeth, and she is just horrified that Margo has the baby with her.
She's like, you really brought a baby to this? Wait, you
And
know the situation at hand, lady. Like, you know what's
yeah,
happening.
and Margo says, "Where did they think that I would leave the baby with my 24-hour Swedish nanny?" Like, that's the whole crux of this. I don't fucking have childcare.
Right.
So Margo's really freaked out by being in the room. She is so stressed out that she can't hear anything happening over the sound of her own heart beating.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just way out of her depth. She's a scared 19-year-old with her baby, talking to a lawyer, talking to this guy. And she finally settles into the conversation. And what she tunes into is she's being told to sign an NDA, agree never to attend her college again, or contact Mark or his family. Elizabeth is just plowing through this conversation. She won't let the lawyer speak. She's running the show. And the lawyer does finally chime in and ask if Mark's name is on the birth certificate. Margo confirms that she left it blank. Smart girl on all fronts, in all
Yes.
honesty. And then the lawyer says, you'll receive the $15,000 immediately to cover the startup cost. The startup cost of having a baby. Crazy. And then when the child turns 18, you will receive the trust we've mentioned. The child. The start, like, this is your flesh and blood. This is so crazy.
But he sent his mommy to do, the dirty work. He feels shame. Like, he is such a bitch. He's such a bitch from the beginning. And it shows like this is the type of man he is.
Hearing about this money, Margo asked them to re-elaborate on this trust situation because she was miles away.
Yeah.
And they tell her that they're going to open up a trust for $50,000, invest it now. And when Bodhi, aka the child, turns 18, it should be about $300,000, and he will have access to the money.
Uh-huh.
Margo thinks about what a chance this is and will give Bodhi opportunities that she's never had herself. And at 18, he'll be about to go to college. And Elizabeth says, so you agree?
Okay.
This woman's evil.
She is.
Like, mommy cleaning your mess is so crazy.
Yeah.
Narrator Margo kind of chimes in with hindsight here, and she realizes that she could ask them for double or triple this money, and it would have meant nothing to them. Not only could she have asked them for money, but she could have ruined their lives. She also acknowledges that past Margo can't even realize that $50,000 isn't a shit ton of money. And that really shows us where Margo is and where she grew up. I did not grow up rich, but I think of $50,000 and I'm like, that's a car, you know?
Right.
Like,
Because we equate it to things like, yeah, I did not grow up rich
I can
either.
think
Like
50 grand. 50 grand is a paid off car. That's not
a paid off car. Yeah.
I'm sorry. $50,000 is not going to change someone's life. It could change their situation, but it is not going to change someone's life, you know?
Yeah. Right.
Like, unless you invest it, like, that is what it is. Go realize that her survival completely depended on signing this paperwork, so she did it. With the check in hand, she went immediately to the bank, and she was worried the teller would think the check was fake. I could not imagine trying to cash a $15,000 check. I'd be like,
shaking. Yeah.
me thinking about this, I'm like, okay, but you're trying to get $3,000 a month for rent. Like, you have 5 months of rent there with no extras. So even though that feels like life-changing money to her, again, it's not. It's going to save her in a bad situation. So she leaves the bank, drives immediately to Arby's, eats 2 beef and cheddars, and she acknowledges that she saved her family by doing this, and she was rightfully happy about it. And future Margo says, I like getting to be the me now, watching past me. It's almost a way of loving her, stroking the cheek of that girl with my understanding, smoothing her hair in my mind's eye. So future Margo is looking at past Margo like, oh, you sweet summer child, look what you have done. But she also is still proud of that decision. Like, Bodhi's really set up for when he turns 18. Back at home, Cheyenne calls Margo and tells her that she told Kenny about the baby, so Margo actually has to go to dinner. This whole scene is so fucking bonkers. This is like dystopian. This is crazy. So Margo is absolutely dreading it. And then we get her and Cheyenne agonizing over what they are going to wear. They are going to Applebee's.
I've showed
you
up.
Put on your nicest sweatpants, bitch.
I have showed up to Applebee's in various estates. It was the only restaurant that was open after our theater programming. So we'd call ahead and be like, hey, everyone in the cast is going to come after
The
and
whole
order
team.
fries. And we're all splitting checks. I know at Applebee's. Stressing about what to wear to Applebee's is so funny to me.
But it's so Cheyenne.
It is. We watch here like her trying to do the same thing, but for herself. She's trying to lock it down with Kenny here. And while it doesn't actively benefit Margo, I think in Cheyenne's eye it does, because she just wants her to have a real family.
This is
and
her
like
shot at a better life. Yeah.
Right.
The second they sit down, Margo realizes she is starving. Now, everything I know about breastfeeding, you are like the hungriest you have ever been in your whole life. So, like, get it, girl.
What do you mean? Someone is literally sucking the nutrients out of your body through your nipples?
Body? Right. Crazy. You should be hungry. And Margo is really our garbage food queen, so she's super excited to be at the bees. When the bees hits, it hits. That's all I'm going to say. Kenny chimes in as he looks over the menu and tells her that dinner is his treat and she can order whatever she wants.
Say less. In college, though,
Eat, my queen.
Being in college and someone bringing you out to a restaurant.
College student?
Oh my God. I'd bring Tupperware.
Oh, do what you can, do what you need to. After Kenny says this, Cheyenne declares that they should not order an appetizer, and Margo says that she's going to. She says she's going to because Cheyenne's about to order a margarita the size of her head. Cheyenne immediately says, you know I don't drink.
Okay, girl.
Cheyenne, what web you weaving? Margo does not know this. It is, in fact, just a lie for Kenny.
Yeah.
But she goes with it. And Kenny's really kind of putting an effort here. I was optimistic for 1 second.
1 second.
He's really putting an effort here to strike up a conversation with Margo and starts talking to her about chicken wings. This is like talking about the weather while you're outside, like talking about the wings. And when she says that she prefers her wings bone-in and not breaded except for at Hooters, Cheyenne is horrified that she has brought up Hooters. And she says that she's never been. We know that Cheyenne met Jinx working at Hooters. She worked there for 6 years. And Margo is just watching her mom put on this completely fake persona for Kenny. Could you imagine watching your mom be someone else in front of some guy? Like, how humiliating. Like, we've all
No.
been in a situation as a teenager watching our friend do this, like, and it
But
was
your own
cringy
mother?
then. Watching your grown mother do it?
Yeah. And like Margo
Ugh.
is so removed from this because they don't have it. Her and Cheyenne don't have a deep connection. We get to see Margo blossom in a way in this and like really gain autonomy and like turn into this a very different human being from like a 19-year-old idiot. But like, I don't think her and Cheyenne have this deep connection, and watching her just like fucking act like a 19-year-old idiot, Cheyenne that is, probably is so interesting for Margo in this scenario.
Kenny then opts to order nachos and wings, which is exactly what Margo deserved. Over food, they discuss what Kenny does, and he's a youth minister, which really clues us into why Cheyenne didn't want to tell him about the baby. And he's like way too into it. And Margo says something like really funny here about like just not being able to imagine him being seen as cool to kids. And that's everything we need to know about Kenny.
I believe
He
it.
says that the church he works at is a liberal bunch, and he was surprised that Cheyenne didn't want to tell him about the baby. Again, little optimistic here. Shouldn't be. Kenny then delivers an absolute dogshit take about Margo accepting the consequences of her own actions for sleeping with Mark, and the other people in her position would have cried rape. You had me in the first half.
Like him being like, you are such a good person for doing that because these other idiots would have gone and like, I hate men.
Garbage take.
Because he hears that and says, oh, it's the woman that's a problem. They went and cried rape.
Yep.
Fuck you.
Youth
minister.
I was steaming. But he's the one shaming women while supporting guys doing whatever the fuck they want.
That's what they do best.
That is what they do best. Right after this, Kenny asks for Margo's blessing for him and Cheyenne to get married. Cheyenne immediately starts crying. She is so excited. She is like wailing in this. I can just picture this in our Applebee's. In this scene, I can too. Cracking up. Kenny looks embarrassed, but he stands up and proposes to Cheyenne on the dirty floor of the Applebee's as everyone claps. The thought of peeling out of an Applebee's booth to do this, knowing that the booth is slightly elevated from the floor, there's a height dynamic in play. I know how filthy the floor is.
Oh yeah, because they use those
all
fake
the people
vacuums
staring at you from the walls. There's just so much happening here.
Nasty.
I do know someone that got engaged in a Chili's, and this really pulled the same punch. So as we get into chapter 6, it's a week later, and the doorbell rings, and who is it but Jinx? He's in black leather pants and a black blazer and wearing lots of rings. Now, knowing what we know about the TV show, I can only picture Jinx as Nick Offerman. I'm like cackling thinking about him in leather pants. Me too. Margo says that this is his like forever outfit. He wears this on TV, he wears it off TV. And he's also holding a leather duffel bag in his hand, and she's not surprised that he didn't get back to her and then just showed up because she's always had access to her dad on his terms, which again is sad. Their whole dynamic is so complicated. So Jinx comes in and he tells Margo that he was in rehab and didn't have access to his phone. At discharge, he got it back and got her voicemail. And this isn't Jinx's first time in rehab, so it's kind of like par for the course. Margo's like, okay, he was at rehab again.
Mhm.
And Margo admits that she kind of figured the money thing out, and he still offers to give her money. Like, do you want me to cut you a check? Which is the dynamic that he had with Cheyenne. He'd roll into town and toss that money in,
Yeah.
which sucks. The rehab thing is like very akin to pro wrestling
Mhm.
as a wrestling girly. A lot of people work hurt and stay hurt, and it's such a slippery slope, especially people who work for WWE, like the biggest wrestling promotion. They're one of those companies that have their private doctors that are pumping their people full of painkillers to keep them
Yep.
on the road. And the cycle persists. It's like a rock and roll lifestyle kind of thing.
Mhm.
Inside, Margo puts water on for tea and Bodhi starts to cry. She feeds him, and Jinx just cannot wait to hold the baby. He has tears in his eyes, and he says that he's back in town because one of his tag team members that he's managing, Mayhem, has retired. And him being so emotional to meet this baby when Cheyenne was like really awkward with the baby feels really sweet.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first time we see someone excited about the baby that has been brought into this world. That Bodhi has felt like a fucking nuisance since the beginning of this book, and
Mhm.
finally we get someone that is just excited that there is a human here, that, this is his grandson. Like, this is what Margot deserves, and yeah, I love their relationship in this book, I'm gonna say. As a girl with
Same.
daddy issues, like,
It
this
hits.
it's
Yeah. Jinx is back in town. Mayhem retired. Murder had died due to drug overdose a few years previous. So now he finds himself with all this free time and
Mhm.
also tells Margo that him and his wife Sherry are getting a divorce. And Margo really gets no information about Jinx's life back at home, his other kids, that kind of thing. So she's kind of surprised to get this take out of him. She instantly realizes that Jinx is so good with Bodhi, which
Yep.
is exactly what she needs, like literally just a second set of hands. Jinx raised 5 kids with Sherry. He had Margo with Cheyenne, and he grew up as the second of 9 brothers and sisters. So he was built to hold this baby, you know?
Mhm.
And right here, Margo describes the way that Jinx looks at Bodhi as love drunk, which is so sweet.
Very.
I just Grandpa Jinx. And again, Nick Offerman in this situation, I just
Cannot wait to see
eating it up.
this. Second, third episode in, I'm very excited. I think it's
Ugh,
gonna be the second episode.
yeah. Jinx admits with Bodhi in his arms that Cheyenne actually sent him over to Margot's house. And he also mentions he met Kenny. And Kenny was a fan of him as a wrestler. And then we find out that Jinx showed up to get back together with Cheyenne. My
I
wife's
forgot about this.
divorcing me. I'm taking your mother back. The absolute like picturing that at the doorstep, like, hey Cheyenne, I'm here to get back together with you. Oh, actually, this is my fiance Kenny. Holy shit, it's Jinx. Like dead. Absolutely dying over this. Jinx has always struggled with not cheating. He's been in and out of rehab. And when Margo asked about rehab, he says, oh, it's a cycle. And she did know. It was a cycle that every professional wrestler went through. Get injured, take more pain pills so you can work injured, get more injured from working injured, take more pain pills.
Yeah.
Jinx had had 4 or 5 surgeries over the year on his spine, 2 knee replacements, and possibly work done on his hip. This man is held together with scotch tape.
Yeah.
Like, not taking pain pills isn't really an option for him.
No, it is not.
And you instantly, like, I've seen enough older wrestlers, the way they move their bodies, you can tell that they are like hurt, injured, forever hurt. Like that's just the trench they are in. That is their cross to bear.
Yeah.
And that comes up a lot in this book is people getting seriously injured from wrestling.
Yeah, but, like, I think about this too, like, what other profession, entertainment-based profession, is it normalized that these people just continue to work in pain, constantly hurt, like, constantly in
Maybe
chronic
football,
pain?
but they have more protocol.
Yes, they
Their
do,
athletes are compensated much better, so taking time off is less extreme.
right? There's more money to put towards physical therapy, there like, the whole every therapy you can
Yeah.
think of, like and there's all this information on CTE. Do you know? Because 'cause you're a wrestling girly, like, I mean, sure, CTE has to be affecting wrestlers in the same way, like
Oh, girl. CTE is
mm,
a huge thing in wrestling. Because
yeah.
you think football players have helmets on.
Yeah, these fuckers don't.
These wrestlers are just taking hits and they are working hurt, especially, sorry, these idiot indie wrestlers on the scene, the ones that don't have these massive contracts that are wrestling for $200 in a VFW, doing backflips through light tubes. Margo asked Jinx how he knew that he needed to go to rehab, and he admitted that not only did he start using heroin, but he started seeing a quote, young woman named Viper. Say no more.
Yeah. Indicator.
Indicator. Yeah, Jinx's honesty here is really interesting.
It's strange. It's very
Yeah, because
strange.
they've always had this such cutoff dynamic, and he just shows up to play. He's like, "Okay, I'm all in.
Yeah.
New kid, who dis?"
It's because he doesn't have any options, we learn, but, like,
Yeah,
he's in a similar situation as Margo. I think Jinx has really good intentions. I just think that they're executed poorly, and this is his
yeah.
chance to, like, do right, and he stumbles his way through it, but gosh darn it if he
I
doesn't.
think similar to Cheyenne, he lacks tools.
Yeah.
Cheyenne doesn't have the tools. Margot was raised by two very emotionally immature parents. Immediately upon finding out about Viper, Margot yells, "Oh, gross!" loud enough to wake up Bodhi. And with the flick of a wrist, Jinx quickly and easily gets him right back to sleep. And Jinx then admits that he needs a place to live. And if she agrees to it, he wants to be open and honest with her, even if it makes Margot think less of him, which that is why
Good.
the honesty's there. I'm sure coming out of rehab, you kind of have that like make amends mindset in your head.
Mhm.
So I'm wondering if that kind of plays into it. Margot says there was no way I could think more or less of him. He was almost a fictional character, a distant planet whose orbit brought him close only once a year. She'd seen more of him on TV than she ever had in person.
Crazy.
It has to feel like letting a stranger walk into your house.
I guess, yeah, but,
Like,
like, I feel like
I
Margo
was
is
just
just
gonna
so
say it'd be like
blasé.
having your uncle move in, like you don't live with your uncle. Like, I have uncles that I only see, like, once a year. Like, having them
Oh,
move into my house would be really foreign, you know?
yeah, I mean, this is the only uncle I'd let move in. There's family that you just don't
Yeah.
have.
Margot always kept him carefully contained so she wouldn't be hurt by him, which again, she's 19 years old and she's cognizant that she's been doing this her whole life. So it's, like,
Yeah.
devastating. Knowing that she needs a roommate, she regrets.
Mhm.
Knowing that she needs a roommate, she agrees to let Jinx stay if he will remain clean because he cannot be doing that around the baby. He agrees and reminds her that he's the one that checked himself into rehab. He says that it's actually going to be really good for him to perform sanity for someone, a kind of fake it till you make it moment. If he was living alone, he wouldn't stay sober. He needs someone there to
Mhm.
kind of help him with accountability. And they agree that he will take Cat the Larger's bedroom.
Yay.
Jinx also talks them in to not getting a fourth roommate so Bodhi can have a nursery. Susie is stressed out about the extra $333 a month for her part of the rent if they only have three roommates, which I would be too.
Yeah,
And Margot agrees to pay it.
Margo.
A girl making it work. She is someone who should not be offering anyone money. Later, Jinx is flopped on the couch with Bodhi asleep on his chest, and Margot is just thinking to herself how happy she is that someone else is holding the baby. She has not been able to take a shower or do anything.
Mhm.
So Jinx having Bodhi in his hands is so helpful. And there's a pink-haired indie wrestler on TV that had been recently released from WWE. And Jinx tells her that she was released because she was using OnlyFans and they didn't want to be a part of it. So she started working for a wrestling promotion called Ring of Honor, which is a real thing. Owned by AEW, actually. Margo is unfamiliar with the OnlyFans platform and asks if it's like Cameo because she knows that Jinx is on Cameo. And Jinx kind of fills her in that it's a porn site, it's X-rated social media for a subscription price. If I had to learn that from my dad.
I mean, but their
But
relationship is not father and daughter by any stretch of the means.
right.
We know.
Jinx says that Arabella is making good money off of OnlyFans and still wrestling, which, classic WWE to not want to be involved with that. And when she got fired, she actually told Triple H, who runs WWE, that she was making the same amount of money in a month on OnlyFans that she was with her entire WWE contract.
I
Which
mean,
that has to feel so good to say to your boss on the way out, like, fuck you, I'll make that money this month.
yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Yep.
Margo says, I don't know the details of her contract, but if that's the case, it seems like a simple decision. You're not going to blow out your knee taking nudes or accidentally break your neck and wind up paralyzed. And she wonders how famous she has to be to do it. And Jinx says, I think anyone can. It's just a matter of if people will follow you. And if that is not the narrative of us in this podcast.
Hey.
That night in her room, Margo was looking in the mirror after nursing Bodhi, and she realized that her boobs were just absolutely massive, which is the post-baby way, is my understanding. And she kind of looks at herself and thinks any man would pay to see this. Margo knew from Cheyenne saying it all the time that she wasn't really that pretty, but she was hot. And Cheyenne always said that beauty is like free money.
Yeah. So this is
Being
just
raised like that.
But yes, but this is who Cheyenne is. Whereas like
100%.
we can compare their situations. Margo is having a baby as an unmarried young woman. She did the same thing. But whereas like Margo is trying to be independent and like not compromise who she is at her core, Cheyenne has been she just constantly turns on a whim for the men in her life. She's like only keeping Jinx in her life because she needs to constantly get money from him. She only is trying to impress Kenny because she wants the benefits that come with marrying Kenny. Like this woman has she's trying to be self-sufficient, but in the complete opposite way. And I gotta say, I respect one more than the other.
Yeah, and I have written here, like, Cheyenne's toxic, but she's in this. This woman actually thinks this way.
Yeah.
And she's also a victim of this thought cycle that she has. Like, yes, putting her daughter in it's terrible, but she's the one that's 40-something years old thinking like this, which has to be a terrible way to live your life. But unfortunately, like, that's her best. That is who she is.
Because that's what she was
It's not a
equipped
good
with.
best, but 100%. So after realizing how big her boobs are, as any woman would, she goes to click around OnlyFans. Still curious after the conversation earlier. She has to make an account to see everything, and struggling to come up with a name, she settles on Hungry Ghost from Mark's poem that he wrote. We're in. She went to find Arabella's account. It was $25 a month to follow, but being so curious, she decided to pony up.
Yeah.
Most of her content was her in her underwear playing video games. That's pretty ideal, But also, there were videos on the page behind a paywall. Margo found a free video, and it was a split screen of her in a bra playing Fortnite. Margo couldn't look away. She clicked around and subscribed to 3 more pages for $15 a month. These were more in line with what she was expecting from OnlyFans, so like classic OnlyFans, not the video game. But knowing that Arabella has a platform, like it's so much easier for someone to just want access to her in a bra, Margo thought to herself, it seemed improbable that men wanted sex this badly, and yet they did. There was an entire economy based on how badly they wanted it. Cash in, queen.
Yep.
We see where this is going. Margo wondered if she could find her own thing on that platform. In future, Margo says, and that is how she became Hungry Ghost, alone in the dark, lit up by a laptop screen with her baby, steadfastly refusing to think about her father injecting heroin and fucking some woman named Viper. Or, that is how I became Hungry Ghost. It's hard to tell which one of us it was. And that is, to me, such a pat on the back from older Margo seeing everything and being like, I'm really proud for her to do that, because we see through this online persona, Margo really comes into her own and becomes who she is.
Right. This is her reclaiming that experience. And like it's interesting the hungry ghost coming from that poem. She's reclaiming that in a way and using it. Maybe it's I'm gonna say this is like definitely a little better for she's hungry for money. Like this is her online
Right.
persona. We watch her morph into hungry ghost and what that looks like in this book through the help of other women. But also I think a lot of this will be informed by also Jinx and his experience because I mean he's a wrestler. That is a persona. If you know anything
Mhm.
about wrestling, who you are is the biggest thing. Like your
Right.
image, the image that you create as this character is what makes you you. And that's the thing with like
Mhm.
OnlyFans. It's like, yes, Arabella is this, has this whole persona attached to her that has eased her into making this much money. Margo will develop that as well, and it's really cool. It's really nice to watch because
Yeah.
I like to see women win, but also, again, Margo is reclaiming the narrative for herself, and she's using sexuality as exploitative like in a way that benefits her, and we don't get to see that
It's
ever.
It's really exciting to see her use all her resources here too, because yes,
Hmm.
she's using sexuality to her benefit. She's using her dad, a famous professional wrestler, like talk about all these things and building a persona to her benefit. And she's
Right.
really pulls all her resources here, which I love. As we dive in to chapter 7, Jinx is officially in and he starts scrubbing the apartment down, like cleaning the bathroom with a toothbrush. And he's suddenly in a white t-shirt and gray sweatpants, which is never how Margo has seen him. And Jinx kind of asks him about it, and he says it's all kayfabe. Which kayfabe is like when a wrestler is in their persona, you see wrestlers like faking an injury and wearing a fake cast in public. So if they're seen, like it's a line blur.
Yeah.
And Jinx says that he's been in kayfabe for so long, he doesn't even know how he dresses. Like, that's just what he wears because that's what it is. Jinx then moves on to cleaning the kitchen and he's blasting rap music. And Margo didn't even know that he listened to rap music. At this point, Margo goes in, asks Jinx if he's heard of Fortnite. And he replies, "Who hasn't?" And we get another one of those peaks of Jinx being so much more up in the know on pop culture than Margo
Yeah.
is because she's living like this life. And he's like, "Of course I know what Fortnite is. Of course I know what OnlyFans is." And it's just another situation where we can really see Margo like picking Jinx's brain for all that it's worth because although they are daughter and father, they have such different lives and such different experiences.
Hmm.
Boxes of books then show up at the apartment. Jinx says that Sherry wanted them all out. He stacked the books up in his room, and he was also just sleeping on a sleeping bag in the floor. And the thought of this is like such a college dorm room, but the thought of a grown man living in it just made me laugh. Like with all the books around the perimeter of the room and just a sleeping bag.
Yeah. But like that's like very
And
frat bro too.
oh yeah. But like that's I mean, he played house with Sherry, but like that's not how he lived his life.
No, exactly.
So Margo describes Jinx moving in as sort of like adopting an exotic pet that you have no idea how to care for. Which is really accurate because she's never lived with this man. She's gone out to dinner with him a couple times. Like she has no idea.
Right.
And she didn't know if the cleaning was OCD or a coping mechanism. And she's not really used to being able to ask Jinx questions, so she doesn't. Margo acknowledges that the money from Mark's mom is half gone and half gone a lot quicker than she anticipated it being. So she does decide to get in on OnlyFans. I mean, a way to work from home, you know?
The dream. I mean, yeah, the time of this is so it's so of whatever that year, 2020, 2019. Yeah, I remember it being so I remember the internet being so dripped in like this is a true way women can make money. Sex work was being talked about in a way it had never been before. It's just like it was so on the forefront of pop culture and conversation, and like
Yeah.
it makes so much sense in the context of the book, and like I can just visualize myself in this time. I remember this going on and every bitch being like, why am I finishing my degree? I can just start an OnlyFans. And you know what? You probably could.
You probably could. Yeah, 100%. I mean, I wouldn't, but you probably could.
I couldn't, but you, yeah.
After digging around on the platform and seeing other non-famous people's accounts, she thinks that she can kind of replicate what they're doing, which is all social media marketing, you know? She locks in and tries to slap a few photos up, so if someone does subscribe to her account, they'll have more than one image to look at. The first series she takes, her boobs are bursting out of her bra like, quote, crescent rolls popping out of the tube. She's still like settling into her new body. And at 19, you are hardly settled into your body to start with. So it's like traumatizing to hear this.
Mhm.
The second set of photos she puts up, she's in the shower and she thought to put Vaseline on her boobs so the water beads up on them. And she's like really proud of that. And
Good
then
for
it
her.
comes time for the bio, which required a little more research. OnlyFans made it nearly impossible to find people on their site. You'd have to dig through Twitter and Instagram and find it on a link tree. She finds a woman whose screen name is Wang Mangler that posts dick ratings, and Margo is shocked that this is a thing that men would want, but like men want
Yeah.
it.
They're depraved. They're depraved in a way that
Oh
we
my God.
can't even begin to understand too.
The name Wang Mangler, like,
So
of
good.
course this woman's doing dick ratings. And the whole vibe of her profile was like, if you want to see more, expect to pay more. And Margo like appreciated that, but realized that's like very much not who she is. So for a bio, Margo lands on lonely hot girl in financial freefall. Please help me make rent this month. I'm new at this, and I show boobs and butt, but I haven't worked up the courage to show more. Maybe you can encourage me. I also rate dicks. If you want to find out what Pokemon your dick most resembles and what attack it might have, send me a $20 tip and I will provide a full write up.
Perfect.
This is our girl. This is our girl, the entrepreneur, the
Mhm.
writer, all of the above. Margo settles into life, juggling the baby, having her dad living there, and refreshing OnlyFans to see that she has no subscribers, and she's still looking for jobs. When Jinx finishes cleaning the apartment, he just kind of starts to lock himself in his room. He even got a kettle so he can make tea while he's in there. And when not in his room, he was sitting in the bathroom for an hour at a time, which is real man behavior. We know what's happening,
Mhm.
but I know multiple people whose husbands do this.
Like, is that really a thing?
Yes.
I can't believe people do that.
No, that's 100% a thing.
Anyways.
Absolutely crazy. Margo says it was unclear how so many things not happening could be so stressful. And I feel this. I've been like so stuck in a rut, and you're like waiting for so many things to happen. You're just stressed out about it, but nothing's actually going on.
Great. And there's
I,
nothing you can do.
I, yeah, I feel this. Trying to bulk up her subscribers from 0 to literally any number, she makes a Hungry Ghost Twitter and Instagram profile that looped back to her OnlyFans through Linktree. And then she got her first fan.
Woo!
It was user 1134967, and he sent a $20 tip with a picture for a dick rating. So Margo gets to work. Now remember, Margo is an accomplished writer, so please enjoy this. Congratulations, your penis is a tentacruel. With bulging pink glands and glittering dark blue veins, your penis is filled with a quiet menace. When that mushroom tip glows red, you know that he's about to attack. is both a water and poison type. Your penis is passionate, but prone to jealousy, easily seeing slights where no harm was intended. He needs a lot of coddling and gentle licks. His primary weaknesses are psychic and electric types, so stay away from redhead witches with stars in their eyes. Your Tentacruel's special moves are ooze attack and extremely potent pre-cum. Watch out for accidental pregnancies. Clear body, in which your penis completely disappears, in which can happen when it's cold out or you hear your mother's voice. In poison prison, in which you ask a girl for so many reassurances that she loves you that she stops loving you. Completely understandable and luckily avoidable. Tentacruel is your penis's fully evolved form, and he has an HP of 120. I rate it 10 out of 10. Tantalizing Tentacruel.
Can't. Yeah.
She
Ooze
deserves
attack?
more money than that.
Yeah, I mean, that's find your market. That's so good.
Yeah. The guy loved, I mean, what do men love besides women in Pokemon? This guy loved this so much.
Oh,
He tips her another $20, and she started posting multiple times a day for him, which in my head, I'm like, that's a lot of work for one guy, but this really helped her make the post more natural, and she kind of like settled into posting, knowing it was going to this guy whose dick she'd seen.
right. And it
Whatever
like
gets you there.
she's building her confidence too because she really doesn't know what she's doing on this
Yeah.
platform.
One day she took eyeliner and wrote boobs on her boobs and posted that, and he gave her a $10 tip. And he then suggested that she takes a picture of her boobs bouncing. Margo hadn't even considered video format before. That opened up. She was really having a hard time just being like, how many pictures of your boobs can you possibly take?
Mhm.
Which,
Surprise
fair
a lot.
enough.
No, a lot.
Margo got 2 more followers, and she kept posting and got a few more followers. And by the end of 3 weeks, she had 20 fans paying $12.99 a month, which wasn't great. OnlyFans takes 20%, but it was something.
Mhm.
Love seeing a little return. Margo walks in to Jinx folding laundry and asks him if he's depressed. He thinks that what he really has is a problem connecting with people, but he's probably also depressed. And this makes Margo think, because she had never really connected with him, she asks him if he wants to connect with people by going to Narcotics Anonymous to kind of keep him on track. And he kind of admits that he's a little too famous to go because people might recognize him, which I think any legacy wrestler would actually, I think this is legit. It's obviously not ideal, but
Yeah.
during this conversation where they're kind of being so open and honest, Margo really waffles on telling Jinx about her being on OnlyFans. She doesn't think that he would judge her, but she opts not to. I wouldn't want to talk to my dad or mom about being on OnlyFans if
No.
I was telling the truth. And Margo spends a lot of time going back and forth on the fact that OnlyFans has no discovery algorithm, which feels crazy. Like, even when she got on the platform and tried to find someone she was looking for, she couldn't find them. She had to go directly to their profile. It doesn't show you accounts unless you already followed them, and there's no general feed to explore. And she's really trying to think in her head how she can get around this, because this is a repeating theme of her trying to figure out how to do it. And there are tons of famous people on there with tons of followers, but really there's a lot of big accounts that aren't famous people too. So she's trying to think of ways that fans are finding new profiles. And then after thinking about this, using her resources, because she's smart as a whip, she asked Jinx how to build celebrity. Who better to ask than a wrestler?
Exactly.
So she asked him how to build celebrity. And Jinx asks, like, how do you go over or how do you build heat? I don't know. Margo says, both? What's the difference? And Jinx says, well, building heat generally means picking fights that piss off the audience. Hate is just as powerful as love, more so when ticket sales are concerned.
Well,
I gotta pay the fee at the door. Jinx really stressed that it's a mix of persona and skill. You absolutely need both. She picks Jinx's brain more to figure out how the wrestling business works, and he says you need buddies, and that's something that really stands out to her because she feels so isolated on her profile. And Margo's using his wrestling brain to think of it in terms of OnlyFans because it's kind of the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Jinx, being a wrestler, mistakes this for genuine interest in wrestling and offers to put on some matches for her later that night so they can watch together. And he invites Susie too and says that he'll cook dinner for both of them, which
Sweet.
is so sweet. This is like the build-up for Jinx. Margo is not going to say no to dinner because she is still absolutely starving. Jinx makes dinner for them, lasagna with homemade noodles, and Margo's completely confused as to why Jinx can cook when he never spent any time at home. And he kind of like tells this story about how he started taking cooking lessons to get the fuck out of the house because Sherry didn't really want him there. From Margo's point of view, who did want him there all the time, this is totally foreign to her, but also her knowing nothing about her dad is devastating as always.
Right.
While Jinx is cooking, Susie debuts a new cosplay she's working on, and Jinx is all in because wrestling is just cosplay. They all sit down after dinner and start watching wrestling, which isn't Margo's dream, but he did make garlic bread, so she does decide to just go along with it. After all the wrestling, Margo's back in her room and she's just stewing on how people are promoting themselves on OnlyFans. And then she just thinks back to Jinx saying that everyone needs buddies. She realizes that people are probably cross-promoting off of each other. Like, no one's actually doing this alone, even if you're alone on your profile. So she sends Wang Mangler $100 tip and asks her if she has any tips or would be interested in cross-promotion. Wang Mangler replied to Margo and said that she should make a TikTok and she will collab with her, but it's going to be $500 and she'll pin Margo's account to the top of hers. And Margo's kind of going back and forth on it because $500 is a lot of money, but it's possible it would be worth it. Margo makes the TikTok and she starts thinking on how many followers she would need to make her money back. And she's instantly sucked into TikTok. This poor girl, no TikTok, no Fortnite, no knowledge of OnlyFans.
Like, what is she
But, like,
doing? Like, I don't know
going
anyone
to
like this.
college and working her ass off. That's what
Right.
she's doing.
Like, she just has
And
no
also,
time for
like,
it.
if it's 2019, like, I feel like TikTok didn't blow up until COVID.
Right. It didn't. I remember not being on it until 2019, towards the end of 2019 into 2020, and it being like an information hub. Like, TikTok is was a very, very different thing than it is now. Yeah.
Also, when TikTok dropped, you couldn't monetize.
No,
Like, it's
that didn't
completely
exist.
changed from the ethos of what it was. Right.
Exactly.
As she's scrolling through TikTok, she instantly notices that all these videos are related. They're all doing the same dances, the same sounds, recreating the same things. And TikTok just knew what she was looking for. She didn't have to search for anything. And then she realized it was 4 a.m., which is just, I think
The
that's
experience.
everyone with short form videos is just losing time. And she says that OnlyFans had the monetization and none of the discoverability, and TikTok had all the discoverability, but none of the monetization. And the gears are really starting to turn here. She writes back to Wang Mangler, I made the TikTok. Where do I send the money? Margo sends it to Wang Mangler, and she says that she'll pin Margo's post for 3 days, but Margo has to run a promo for her subscription fee to be $4.99 a month so that her fans get a discount. Margo did not want to do this because she has to get 100 followers then to even make her money back, more with the OnlyFans cut. She doesn't want to lose the opportunity, so she sets the promo and then runs to the bathroom and throws up.
This is so...
And that is where, obviously, that is where we are going to pause.
Yeah. No,
You're
this
still hanging in there. Thank you.
I know. Wow. This is where you see that the research was there, because if you know anything about OnlyFans, you have to, like, if you watch the OnlyFans the girlies go back and forth, and like I found out about OnlyFans girlies through TikTok and their TikTok personas and how funny they were, and realizing that they also did sex work on the side. Queen, like, you see that unfold, and like they are cross promoting, they are supporting one another, they hit those promos, they get the free days, like, subscribe for free now for this month and, get on the subscription.
Hope
and
they forget about it.
Forget about right. So there's all these tactics and you can see all the research that's gone into this. But wow. We're getting into the bread and butter of this book. Oh,
right. We were talking about it like mid-record. It's so dense, especially all this establishment. But now that we are through getting our girl on the platform, we kind of just get right into the swing of things.
Do you have a read the read?
Would you like to read your read first?
Yes.
Because I want to hear it.
I have a negative review here. 1-star read from Amber. I am shocked, but not shocked people like this book. The mockery of Christianity was a big no for me. Half a star. That's it.
Chuck that up there with the COVID deniers.
Like, why the fuck are you picking up a book like that then? Go read.
Right. If you read the back of that, like, what do you think you're about to get into?
Right. An unmarried, pregnant 19-year-old who got pregnant by her professor and has a mom who worked at Hooters. The daughter of a Hooters
waitress and a professional wrestler. Come on.
Come
You
on.
thought this was going to have some Christian art?
Sorry, Amber. What do you have?
I have a review from Olivia, and it is a 1/2-star review. Geez, this book was the worst. The main character was ignorant and arrogant at the same time. I did not need to have first person and third person explained to me. The only redemption was the roommates and the two of them when they left.
Okay, so you are the roommate. All right, girl. Well, I got to tell you, it was made into a TV show by AppleTV. Picked up by AppleTV, my good friends. So I can promise you it's not a bad book. You just didn't like it. No, we are so happy to be diving into Margo, and we cannot wait to do it justice. So keep listening along with us. And until then, bye.
We'll see you at the library.
We'll see you girlies there.